Let's preview tonight's Spurs-Clippers game and ask, when will the losing streak end?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, this is Hot Rod.
And I'm RC from the Cybertron Spurs.
And you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you back. Hope everybody's having a great week. Hey, short work week. By the way, before I forget, happy Thanksgiving to you all. You guys are the everydayers. Thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every single day. Yeah, we're here with you almost every single day. So thanks for that. You know what? I'm thankful for you guys being here with us throughout the entire year. Hey, so what are we talking about today? Well, we're going to be asking, when will the losing streak end? Also, what are we thankful for despite the Spurs having a less than 500 record with 3-11. But before we do all that, we're going to preview tonight's Spurs-Clippers game. Yes, the rematch in San Antonio and more. We'll see if the Spurs can do it tonight against the Clippers in their rematch. But yeah, it's going to be a tall task ahead of them. So let's go ahead and preview tonight's Spurs-Clippers game. So, as y'all know, Spurs are coming off a loss against the Clippers. Yes, they're doing a home and home right now. The Spurs played the Clippers a couple days ago. They lost 124-99. With the loss, the Spurs dropped to 3-11. The Clippers went to 5-7. This is the last game of a 4-game homestand for your Spurs. Oh yeah, as y'all know, they're on a 9-game losing streak. For those of y'all wondering how the players did in the previous game, Wembanyama had himself a bad night. 9 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. Cedi Osman had 17 points. Zach Collins with 12 points. Keldon Johnson added 22 points to lead the way. Devin Vassell did not play in that game. Injury report, Devin Vassell is doubtful for today, so not completely out. We'll see how that plays out. And in case for y'all wondering what the Spurs are going to be wearing tonight, they'll be wearing their Statement Edition jerseys. Not often they've been wearing those. I think it's like the second time they have, but they'll be back for tonight's game. So what are we going to be looking out for in tonight's Spurs-Clippers game round 2? Well, preserving the ball. The Clippers have been doing a great job of that in the last 4 games. They have recorded fewer turnovers in 4 consecutive games and only 7 against the Spurs in the last game. So they value the ball. So that just means the Spurs got extra work on defense. And I know, defense. Oh boy, defense. What else are we watching for in tonight's game? You know, speaking of defense, the Clippers have recorded more steals than their opponent in 4 straight games. They are defending. They are getting those loose balls. They are causing turnovers. That creates second chance opportunities for the Clippers. And again, San Antonio, the Spurs definitely coughed the ball up, I think, 16 times. Well, no, not 20, but nevertheless, a lot more than what the Clippers did. And the Clippers capitalized that 20-plus points off the Spurs turnovers in the previous game. Spurs got to value that ball tonight. They cannot create second chance opportunities for the Spurs. Just opportunities, period, by turning the ball over. Let's look at that scoreboard. All right, so if you're watching the game, you're at home, or at the Frost Center, keep it on that scoreboard. The Clippers are 5-0 this season when they're leading after the third period. They don't let those leads squander away, unlike another team we know. So if the Clippers are ahead after third, likely chances that the Spurs could see their losing streak continue. Now, what about your Spurs? All right, well, not really much positive to say about what to be watching for tonight's game. The Spurs have lost 6 straight games at home. You know, hopefully the Spurs can not only snap their 9-game losing streak, but just their 6-game losing streak at home. So recent history is not on their side right now. And we need to see them get to the free throw line more. This is one of the big reasons why they're on the losing streak. Aside from defense and turnovers, we know there's a laundry list of it. I get it. But one of the things that can be easily corrected is getting to the free throw line. In 7 consecutive games, the Spurs have recorded fewer free throw attempts than their opponent. They're not getting to the lane. They're not causing the opposition to cause fouls. They're not being aggressive enough to draw those fouls and get them to the line to get some easy free throws. So keep an eye on that. The Spurs have not been getting to the free throw line of late. Another reason of a laundry list of reasons why the Spurs are currently on the losing end of things right now. There's your quick Spurs Clippers preview. Coming up next, we have Rudy Campos. Just a little note. Unfortunately, Rudy cannot do video. It's Thanksgiving holiday right now. He was busy. So he can only do a phone in. So we're going to be doing audio only after this. But we're going to be going over when the Spurs might see their losing streak end. We're going to figure out which game could be it. And then give you reasons why you should be thankful for the Spurs, even though they are 3-11. I know, everybody. I know. So we found a couple of reasons, maybe a few more. We'll see what you think about them. That's coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs.
This is Emily Swallow, and you are listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
Our partners at eBay Motors have teamed up with Locked On Fantasy Basketball host Josh Lloyd to bring you some of the best fantasy picks each week, all season long. Whether you're prepping for a daily draft or scouting the waiver wire, every week we're going to provide you players that are guaranteed to fit your roster. So let's see who Josh has picked out for this week's eBay's Guaranteed Fit Fantasy Picks of the Week. Well, since there are no Spurs available, we'll go with the former Spur. How about Kyle Anderson? With Jaden McDaniels out for a week, Anderson should see a boost in his production to help fantasy managers. There you go, former Spur helping out his team, and he can help you as well, thanks to Josh Lloyd over at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. So Josh Lloyd from Locked On Fantasy Basketball is going to help you win your fantasy championship, and eBay Motors knows a championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. Same with your vehicle. Hey, look. Do you have a memory of a car of your love that you really loved? Do you remember a time when you had that car that you just wanted to fix or just needed to keep it running? Or you were looking for a cool upgrade that you really wanted? That's where eBay Motors comes in. Look, if you have a dream ride and you need some parts for it, you want to go to eBay Motors right now. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you can make sure your ride stays running smoothly. Brake kits, LED headlights, roof rack, bumpers, whatever your baby needs, eBay Motors has it. And with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. That's ebaymotors.com. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available for U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top stories of the day with local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube. Subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. And as promised, we are now joined by Rudy Campos of Sweep the League. Make sure to follow him on X at Sweep the League. And first of all, Rudy, thank you for filling in for the, my God, Jimenez. You had to pick up his slack again, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm the best six man in the Locked On network, so I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that.
That you are. Rudy is coming in for Mike Jimenez. He was supposed to show up today, but Jimenez no-showed on us, everybody. So kudos to Rudy for coming off the bench once again. But it's going to be a fun show, Rudy. It's we're going to be thankful. We're going to play a game. What can we be thankful for the Spurs despite their record? And then we're going to try to predict when the losing streak will end. Right now, it is at 9 games straight. And by the way, everybody, if you hear a doorbell chiming in the background, Rudy's at work. He's getting ready for the holidays. Unfortunately, he can only do audio for this show, but we still thank him for taking time for hopping on Locked On Spurs. So, Rudy, we know you're pressed for time, so let's hop on in. The Spurs are on a 9-game losing streak. They will face the Clippers tonight in San Antonio to close the 4-game homestand. And if any indication of game 1 versus the Clippers a couple of nights ago was any indication, tonight might be another repeat of that. But Rudy, put your thinking cap on. Here are your next 5 Spurs games. You tell us when it will end. Tonight versus the Clippers. Then on the road versus the Warriors. On the road versus the Nuggets. At home versus the Hawks. And at home versus the Pelicans. Those are the next 5 games. Do you see the losing streak ending?
Well, if we're looking at the next 5 games, and I'm getting the 5 games overview here, I almost would point to Golden State, but only because it's being played in Golden State. It kind of gives the Warriors a little bit of an advantage there. Let's be real, man. The Golden State Warriors are not playing very good. You got the Draymond incident. Clay is just not playing really good. That whole team is kind of in shambles right now. So that would be the one game I look at if it was in San Antonio. So that one's going to kind of be a toss-up. But if I had to pick one game, it's actually against Atlanta in San Antonio. So we're looking at like November 30th probably.
Oh, man.
I could see that game being where the streak ends. But then again, I mean, what Spurs team are we getting?
Exactly.
So are we getting an all four-quarter team, which we have yet to really see this year? Or are we going to get the team that has Spurs fans' hopes up high for the first 2 quarters, maybe 2.5, and then it is all downhill from there?
Yeah, I definitely can see that in San Antonio. Maybe the energy will be high. DeJounte Murray's return. Some fans are, not too thrilled with him after leaving the Spurs and the comments he made. Go with their best shot if we're just looking at the next 5. Atlanta at home. Hey, I agree with you. I think that's where it can happen. I'm not going to be surprised, though, Rudy, if they drop the next 5 games. I'm not. Are you?
No, Jeff. I mean, I've been making it very clear that first 20 games of the season was going to be tough. And I think I had them winning right around 3 games. But let's be real, the Phoenix games were not games I had them winning. So I expected them like a 3-17 start. And so far, so good on my magic ball.
Yeah, so it was just at 9 tonight. So Rudy and I were predicting a 9, 10, 11, 12 game losing skid before possibly snapping it at home versus the Hawks on November 30th. Okay, now that kind of losing streak, if it does play out like that, did you expect this kind of losing skid from this current crop of players in the roster, Rudy?
I'm curious to hear how many fans say, "Oh, Rudy's BSing, he didn't." But yeah, I fully expected this kind of losing streak at the beginning of the season. Again, if you look at it, Jeff, it was a massively hard start to the season, and it wasn't going to get any easier. So there was a lot of teams in their playoff teams, play-in teams. There was a lot of teams there that had improved. So I really saw maybe 3 or 4 games won in the first 20 games. Yeah, I could have saw maybe 5, but I fully expected a double-digit losing streak in the beginning of the season.
I did not expect this at all. I'll be honest with you. The team looked very positive at media day. What did Pop say at media day? We're all about winning this season. Remember, he made that very clear, and so far that has not happened. I looked at the Wemby coming on board. The same team practically, with some cohesion, some chemistry, and going through the ups and downs they did during the tank season. Maybe that'll motivate them to not go through that again. But here we are. Now, we know we're just looking at the next 5 games. Let's extend it out one more game. Okay, we'll look at the next 6. So after the Pelicans, it'll be Spurs at Rockets on December 11th. Do you think that's a possible win or no? Because the Rockets have been playing pretty good this season.
So the Rockets are one of the surprise teams, I think, even though they're not, generally like doing world beaters right now, they are one of the surprise teams. Sengun's been playing exceptional ball. And it's one of those games where as Spurs fans, you kind of circled like, well, that should be a win. That should be a win. Well, pump the brakes there. They did lose to the Rockets at the beginning of the season. Yeah, it was in overtime, but nonetheless, it's still a loss. Have the Spurs improved since that loss in the season? No, they haven't. So can we really circle that in as a win for this team? It's in Houston. It's still the Rockets. It's still a possible victory. It's probably still their best chance to get a victory in the next 6 games. But it's not a sure thing.
Yeah, it's not a sure thing. The Rockets have been playing well. And I was on board with the Spurs getting Sengun in the draft. I was shocked that he was still on the board and the Spurs passed on him. I think that was the Primo draft, wasn't it? I think that was the Primo draft, and they opted for Josh Primo instead of Sengun. Sengun was still on the board, everybody, and they passed on him. So... Yeah, this losing streak definitely doesn't seem any end in sight. Maybe the wild card here, and I think you brought it up, is the Warriors game on November 24th. That could be a wild card where they could get a win on the road, no less. But it's just because no Draymond, the team looks to be in disarray. But so Warriors and Hawks look like maybe where the losing streak will end. But nobody should be surprised if this losing streak continues. So those are our predictions when the Spurs likely could snap this ugly losing streak. When we get back, we're going to continue our chat about the San Antonio Spurs, and we're going to try to be in the Thanksgiving spirit. So coming up next, we're going to try our best, everybody, and it's going to be tough to figure out two things Spurs fans should be thankful for about this Spurs team this season. I'm going to give you one. Rudy is going to give you one. So that's coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs. Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get on the action than right now. Look, the Spurs season is underway. Dallas Cowboys season is underway. It's the NFL. It's just a great time to be a sports fan. You can have even more fun by using the FanDuel app. The app is easy to use, a wide range of betting options that include spreads, player props, over and unders, and more. You got to go to FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. Go there right now, everybody. I use it. You should use it too. Download it to your favorite device, have some fun, and get those winnings going. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. Also want to talk about Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee here in San Antonio. You want to go to 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. That's in the 281 to 1604 area. They're open every day, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Yes, and they'll be open even this Thanksgiving Day. Go get your coffee fix right now, everybody. They have a daily selection, a wide variety of drinks. They have an extensive menu. The list goes on and how many things you can get at Mudslingers, including the Mudslinger signature drink, the Red Bull infused Lightning Bolt series, even specialty drinks like the Sub-Zero, that's a hat tip for UTSA's Frank Harris. Also the Alien, you know who that's about. That's Victor Wembanyama, drink made in his honor, and so much more. Even the OG OJ, that's the old Orange Julius, recreated only at Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee. Go there right now. Over 300 5-star reviews cannot be wrong. You can find them on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. The list goes on and on. They are on social media at Mudslingers, SATX, all one word. The friendly staff, they are a proud local sponsor of Locked On Spurs and a proud community member helping San Antonio each and every day. 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive, open every day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Go there right now. Go to Mudslingers, everybody. Life is too short for bland coffee.
Hey, this is Chris Sabat, and you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Rudy Campos of Sweep the League, filling in for the guy who big time Locked On Spurs, Mikey Menace. I cannot believe this. But Rudy is the sixth man of Locked On Spurs. He's always ready when his number is called, so he did it again. Make sure to follow him on X at Sweep the League. And also let him know that you are thankful for Rudy in this Thanksgiving holiday for working on trying to solve world hunger. Thank you so much for that, Rudy. We appreciate that.
No problem, man. I solved it by eating less myself, so everyone else can eat.
So you ate less, so that freed up more food for the whole world. I got it.
Exactly.
Yeah. By the way, again, hat tip to you and your diet/health path. You've lost a lot of weight. A lot of weight, man. Congratulations on that. So, Rudy, at 3-11, things are not rosy for the Spurs to start the season. But it is the Thanksgiving holidays tomorrow. So we're going to try our best to be thankful for one thing this 3-11 team has given the Spurs fan base this season. You are the guest, Rudy. So, first of all, I am thankful for you for coming off the bench for this episode of Locked On Spurs. So I'm going to get that out of the way. So thank you, Rudy. But what are you thankful for from this 3-11 Spurs team?
Well, and let me start off saying I'm thankful for you allowing me to be on Locked On Spurs. That's always been a blessing for me. But, in a season of all downs, pretty much, there's a couple of things to be thankful. And, I think the biggest thing for me, and it's a joke, and I'm going to get a whole lot of people mad about it, but just thankful that the season is 82 games is a big one for me because
brutal.
I've been adamant about it where, Vegas was like at 22, 23 wins. I said, I've kept my word at 28 wins for the season. I had a feeling and I knew it was going to be a tough season. Made it even more tougher to see that, we have the Sohan experiment going on at point guard. It just makes it even more brutal. But to be thankful that it's one season, and that's what it is. It's one season. It's 82 games, and it's not any longer than that. So it's one season. Do I see this team improving after the season? Yeah, they're going to have to make some moves. But the biggest thing is it's just one season. So thankful it's one season, one more season of struggling. Maybe a lottery team, which looks like it's going to be a top lottery team, and that's not a problem at all. You get more youth in here, but also you get a chance to evaluate the entire team, make changes at the trade deadline. You can go in the offseason, do what you have to do. You still have a lot of cap space. But all in all, thankful that this season is not going to go on forever, and one day it will end.
Brutal. Wow, Rudy, you went there.
I did. I'm not getting anything for Christmas now, I'm sure, from anybody.
You're definitely not getting anything for Christmas after what you just said right now. All right, my turn. So what am I thankful for? Well, I think from this 3-11 Spurs team right now. I think the obvious. I think Wembayama, the numbers are there. He's putting up good numbers to start his early NBA season. At 19 years old, the block numbers are over 2. The scoring, double-figure scoring. Does he have his ups and downs? Of course. We saw that versus the Clippers. Just really couldn't get anything going. But we've seen what he can do if he's really focused and he's involved as Phoenix. So I'm thankful the Spurs finally got themselves a potentially, cornerstone franchise player, next generation. He's just 19 years old. He's putting up the numbers. His colleagues around the league are just glowing about him. We're seeing what could possibly be the big piece in this rebuild to build around. Yes, build around, because I think if an opportunity presents itself where maybe you have to flip a Sohan or a Vassell or a Keldon or a Trey Jones or dip into those draft picks, at least you have a legit reason to say, like, hey, we have to do this because we have this guy on board and he can take us to the next level, bring us back to glory. So let's bring in somebody who can complement him better. No knock on Keldon and Vassell and all them, but if there is a better piece to fit around him, the Spurs will do it. And you've been very vocal about this too, Rudy, that, Spurs are not shy from trading away fan favorites. George Hill, Sean Elliott, DeJounte Murray, Derek White, the list goes on and on. So the Spurs have themselves a corner piece player they can build around into the future, because right now it's looking definitely like the rebuild is we're still in this rebuild. The light at the end of the tunnel, we can see it, but based on these first few games of the season at 3-11, that should tell everybody the rebuild is still moving forward. But thankful to having Victor on board. Hopefully he will turn into that generational player. Just curious, Rudy, was there anything else you can think of that you might be thankful from the Spurs team?
I mean, outside of probably Wemby, which, obviously everybody's thankful for and hoping that he just continues to improve on his rookie season. I'm going to say one thing, man. And this is kind of weird. It's Spurs related, but I am thankful to be able to watch the Austin Spurs play, because that team is good. It is good.
Yeah, they're good.
I enjoy the future of the San Antonio Spurs with those guys. So I am thankful for that. And you know what? Just keep filling the seats as much as you can, San Antonio.
You're going to get some fan base hate for all your takes right now. You know that.
Well, this is the Jimenez show, so it's.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, so you're definitely carrying the mantle right now for those hot takes. A close second to be thankful, for me, outside of Wemby, was, just seeing the community kind of rallying together, behind the Spurs, at least to start the season, with, the Muros and everybody excited for the new season. The ticket sales were going crazy. The spotlight on San Antonio. I guess it is part of the Wemby effect, but just thankful to see that hey, the spotlight's back in San Antonio. Fans are going crazy again in a good way. I go to the games. Obviously, I've been to a lot of them already this season, and for the most part, almost all games are sold out. So good to see the community back going. But Spurs, you gotta win, otherwise that good feeling is gonna turn quick. So, hey, but what are y'all thankful for this Thanksgiving holiday? You can let us know. You can let Rudy know on X at Sweep the League. And, of course, subscribe to Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcast. Rudy, what's going on with Sweep? And, by the way, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, by the way.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, Jeff. Appreciate you saying that. And yeah, with Sweep the League, it's been a hiatus, but everything has been it's starting to pick up again. We've actually added a few more hosts to the show. We're kind of forming, and I'm actually announcing it on Locked On, which I do a lot. We're trying to form somewhat of a Sweep the League network. So we've got some baseball analyst guys coming in, basketball, football. So be on the lookout. 2024 is looking really, really bright for this new network coming up.
You know what? Jimenez should be thankful for you right now. For covering his butt once again.
I've done it on multiple times. So.
Oh, you hear that, Jimenez? Multiple times. Hey, Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. And subscribe to Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcast, Ken's 5 Plus, Spotify, iTunes, the list goes on and on. You guys are the everydayers. We'll likely be off tomorrow because of Thanksgiving. Hopefully we'll return on the day after Thanksgiving. I'm going to find somebody see he wants to join us for a Friday show. If not, well, y'all gonna have me just 101 like the old days back in the beginnings of Locked On Spurs. But for Rudy Campos, again, thank you so much, Rudy, for stepping in today. We appreciate you as always. I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.